everyone, welcome. It's the end of day 2 at the 21 Convention London, the conference of the century. You guys know it by now. I'm bringing to the stage 2 men that are going to speak. They're going to have a good time. Frederik is a returning speaker from Sweden last year, and Yoram is joining us on the convention stage for the first time. So give them your undivided attention. Please welcome Frederik and Yoram.
Pleasure. Cheers, man. What's up, guys? You guys had a long day or a good day? A good day. Awesome. That's what we want to hear. We're here to have 4 good days. And what we want to do right now is we just want to top that second day off a little bit. So the title of our speech is Surviving the Game. Surviving the Game. Does anybody know that movie maybe from the 90s? Yeah, he knows. He's actually too young for knowing it, but he likes to watch old school movies. It's kind of like me. I was too young for watching that too. I had to pretend to my parents to go to bed like when I was watching it at the time. So anyways, my name is Frederik.
Yeah, my name is Yoram.
And Surviving the Game, what could this be, right? Has anybody of you read that book called The Game? Yeah, it's usually at these conventions like, fuck yeah, I read it, yeah. 500 years ago, don't want to talk about it. It's a bit embarrassing, no. So what this book does, it gets people to realize that they want to get better with women. And we realized that at some point too, with or without having read The Game, actually. Both cases are on stage. And what we want to give you guys is a bit of an overview from the beginning, throughout the middle, towards the end of that development process, right? Getting better with women. What do you sort of encounter in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end? And that's sort of the common stuff to everybody. It doesn't matter whether you want to learn speed seduction, natural game, method game, or I don't know, a stripper, hired gun, ice cream saleswoman game. I have no idea. These are like the issues that you are most likely to come across in any situation you are. What am I forgetting?
Well, nothing really. Well, I gotta add though that for me personally, this is actually gonna be my last speech. It's gonna be the last speech to really, for me, it really signifies my, well, quote unquote, retirement from, from pickup. Well, I think I've sort of divorced myself from pickup for a while now, but you know, this is really to me. I think the 21 convention really, to me, seems sort of the pinnacle of, sort of the bang on the fireworks, you know? It really seems just a really good place for me to end it. And therefore, I've really, we were thinking what we're going to do this speech about. And I really wanted to have it contain the things that I wish, I would have known for, since the beginning, the middle, and the end. And
also the kind of shit that I wouldn't have wanted to fall into really throughout.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's to do with community stuff. It has to do with personal stuff. And well, I can't really say that I'm the ultimate oracle of the truth or whatever. But to me, this stuff is really the truth to me. And gotta get it out there. You'll see what I mean, I hope. And
It's both of our truths. That's why you can see we're using 2 different computers, because we can't even agree on one PowerPoint. You see? Like, the truth is individual for everybody. There is no unified truth. Even though you're sometimes being sold a unified truth, there is no such thing. And that's probably the first thing to realize, that there is no such thing as a unified truth. So, right, what's the beginning kind of like? What is it when you get into this thing? How are you usually? Like, how were you 5 years ago?
Well, when I got into this really because, I was actually really bored with my life, kind of. I was not living the life I wanted to live, and to me, this stuff was really my ticket out of there. And not doing, not approaching or whatever was not an option. It was going back to hell, or it was just really enjoying life in a better way, really. But I think for me, the beginning was really, it's a kind of that place. I think for me it signifies most. It's best described actually as the biggest wall between you and women. So I think near the end, of course, you're going to feel like you're on the side of women. But in the beginning, it feels as if you are on opposing sides of women, you know? It's like women are here, you are here, and you're like, fuck. It's like it's a massive hurdle you gotta overcome. And yeah, I guess in the beginning you sort of just stumble across the stuff, and they're like, all right, fuck, where do I start, you know? And
You feel like you're entering a war. And sometimes you project the women as the enemy in there, even though clearly you deep down know they're not. But consciously, how am I going to win that girl over? See? That might be the situation you're in. But in any case, you're in a situation where you're not happy with the relationship life you're having at this point. And that's why you're looking to the pickup community or the pickup industry for help. Can we agree on that? Is that clear? Yeah. So, what we want to do right now is, again, beginning, middle, and end. And what we do is we'll give you some entertaining stuff that can happen, that can set you back, and we're going to phrase it a bit entertainingly, hopefully, that it doesn't get also, deep and dark and that we're all going to start crying. Share maybe a few personal stories, how we all fell on our nose before. And then we're also going to tell you, like Yoram said, the truth, right? Like what we really think is the truth, condensed down to a minimal point that everybody can agree on, both in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So the kind of stuff what you can encounter in the beginning that can sort of screw you up a little bit. A big one, in my opinion, is information overload. It's like personally, I have not released a single ebook. You haven't either. But we're among the few speakers on this stage who haven't. And the speakers on this stage are only a small part of the coaches in this pickup community. Because Anthony only picks the ones that he personally wants on this stage. He doesn't let everybody. So there's, not millions. Millions is over-exaggerated, but there's hundreds more. So, and it's really easy to actually, put out an ebook, right? And maybe it's not good, maybe it doesn't have a good sales page, but guess what? One thing happens for sure, it's going to get torrented. Do you understand what I mean, torrented? It's going to be put into a downloadable format. So there's going to be hundreds and thousands of ebooks on how to get better with women in such a downloadable format. And what are you going to do? You're going to hunt for that missing piece of information in the beginning. You've maybe read 5, 10, or downloaded 15. Who's downloaded more than 10 ebooks in their life on picking up women? Come on, guys, be honest. Who's downloaded more than 10 ebooks? There's no camera on you. You're not going to get sued for this. See, there's somebody who is honest at least. Awesome. So, I mean, I can tell you I've downloaded, I don't even know. I know that I haven't read most of them in the end, but I did spend a lot of time on searching for them. So this information overload basically screwed me over in 2 different ways. I wasted time searching for this stuff, and I didn't really read all of it. And the stuff I read was mostly repetitive after the 3rd book. Right? At some point, it's like, yeah, I've read this before. Yeah, oh, this is a new nuance. But what you end up doing is you end up searching for that last bit of wisdom, that last bit you're missing. You feel like you're missing the sort of magic piece of theory that'll worldwide make all panties drop in an instant. Well, I tell you right now, it's not there. It's really not there. This is a development process where you yourself have to put energy in. So stop hunting and focus on the information you have, really.
Good one, yeah. All right, the 2 topics I really want to get into, or actually want to sketch before I get into them, are the fear of approaching, which is also really, the fear of approaching is probably the number one, actually just without a doubt, the number one problem guys have in the beginning when they get into this stuff. Number 2 is actually over-idealizing attraction as a sort of a game tactic, or whatever you want to call it, really.
It's medicine for everything.
Yeah, and I'll get into this. So first of all, the fear of approaching, right? Fear of approaching, this shit is scary, and I think at the beginning as well, as we've all, well, maybe not all of us, but in the beginning, right, a lot of us, we have lives that aren't necessarily very, very scary, right? Let's say guy X sits in his mom's basement, plays computers. Maybe his only couple of contacts are his fellow, gamers or whatever, computer gamers in this case, right? And maybe, I don't know, his weed dealer or something, I don't know, and his mom, right? And he maybe goes out, to his local gas station for cigarettes or something, I don't even know. But the point is, right, this guy is living his life in a little cocoon and, severely sort of, has a large aversion to risk. And I think when you get into this stuff, especially, you know you have a problem, right? You know you have a problem, you want to go, cool, I have to approach women. It's what you find out. And then basically what happens is that, you get all this information overload. Like, fuck, all right, I got to go approach, right? And not only does this, this information overload actually give you a lot more approach. Has everybody heard of approach anxiety, by the way? AA, right? Okay, so that's basically the fear of women. And this feeling, all right, it's probably inherent a little bit in you before you've approached any women or before you've read any community stuff. But after you've read a shitload of sales pages and ebooks, it's mentioned everywhere. This shit is built up, right? Why? Well, I don't have time to go into that. But it's built up in such a way that you feel like, okay, approach anxiety feels like shit. What do I need to fix it? Attraction. I need to attract, that'll be good, right? If I'm attractive, my approach anxiety will go down and won't be, it'll be all right.
Vanishing.
Well, I guess, that's, it's not even like it will be vanishing, but you can just, it allows you to move through it really, right? So, the thing is this though, right? I think really like seeing attraction per se as a way to, as a tactic, instead of seeing it as a result, you're just, I don't know, I think you're sort of beating around the bush, as I'm actually doing right now a little bit. So, point is though, right, fear of approaching, it's really there because we're not used to projecting our sexuality onto women. And I think, I pretty know for a fact actually that we've been taught to actually not project our sexuality on women. So if you see a hot woman, usually I think when you look at like a pubescent teenager, right, you might get this funny little feeling. But we've been teaching ourselves to block this feeling because it's inappropriate, right? And this sort of feeling of we're being inappropriate, we're wrong for feeling arousal, is really what makes us scared of the approach. All the way in the beginning, right? All the way when we've been, I think when we were like 12, 13, getting into puberty. I mean, this is really the place where it comes down to. So, yeah.
I just want to share a quick personal story about the approach anxiety thing. Like, I got into this pickup community twice. Once in 2004, and at the end of 2004, I got into a relationship that lasted roughly 3 years, and then I got back into it. The first time I got into it, the game wasn't written. It was probably being written at the moment. And the only theory I had at my disposal was David D'Angelo's Double Your Dating and Robert Greene's The Art of Seduction. Now, these books do not mention the word approach anxiety very much. I didn't know what approach anxiety was in 2004. Therefore, I didn't have much of it. It was like, I hadn't talked to women for 3 years, besides during my study or on the tennis practice or whatever, but not flirting with women for 3 years. I was 22 at the time. But I had not read the word approach anxiety with my first bits of theory, and I went out and I started talking to girls again. It's like, whoop, oh, nice girl, let's go talk to her, no worries. So I get into my relationship, I'm living the happy couple life for 3 years, and all of a sudden it breaks down, the happy couple life isn't there anymore. I'm thinking like, let's get back into the community. Let's really start being good with women. So this is 2007 when all the theory is out. Everything's there. So I start reading stuff. And on every page, the word approach anxiety is probably the most used. So actually the first time I got it, let's talk to some girls again like I did 3 years ago. I'm there, I'm like, oh, shit. Felt the approach anxiety hardcore. Like at some point, like I was crippled. It took me a while to get over this, to blink this out again, because what approach anxiety really is, it's a wrong interpretation of high adrenaline. What your body does to you, it makes you feel adrenaline, and you're like, oh shit, adrenaline, this must be scary. Now think of guys at a bungee tower. They all feel adrenaline, and the one guy will be there, hell yeah, adrenaline, let's go. And the other guy will be there, fuck, adrenaline. Right? This is something I really had to learn. So, shall we talk about how to do the beginning right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's a good time.
Yeah.
Cool. You want to kick it off or?
Yeah. See, the first thing is do not fight through something. Enjoy yourself. You're not going into war here. War is much worse than stalking than stalking women. I almost said. I'm not too sure. But war is definitely much worse than talking to women. So enjoy yourselves, you know. Make sure that you can only either have a good situation and enjoy this good situation with a woman, or you can go home and think, shit, what went wrong? I'm going to learn something today. Well, you're not going to get shot. Like, you're actually on the same team with the women. It's just that neither one of you knows this yet. This is what game has actually been made for if you interpret it healthy, to just understand that you're actually both on the same team and to actually start wearing the same jersey. So enjoy yourselves. Do not start a fight. And furthermore, every conversation you strike up, every single conversation is valuable. I don't know, has Marcus Oki already spoken? I think he will. And he'll teach you how to strike up conversations in a public bathroom, if needed. You know, you can ask him about that. He knows how to do this. He can strike up a conversation anywhere, no matter how awkward the place is. So you should really listen to him when he speaks, because every single conversation is valuable. It doesn't matter if you talk to the toilet lady, if you talk to the hottest girl in the club, or anything in between. Why does this not matter? Does anybody have an idea? Yes?
Because you're practicing conversation.
Exactly, you're practicing conversation. And why is that useful? What do you think?
Because then when the time comes and you really need to talk to someone, you'll feel comfortable.
Exactly. A, you're building up momentum in your conversational stream every single night. The more you talk during the day, the better your night's going to go. The more you interact with people, the better your interactions will go. But also, the chances are that you haven't talked to people for a long time, at least not as much as you should have. So this is a skill you need to rediscover and start practicing. That's why every single conversation is valuable. And what should you not do while having conversations?
Lots of things.
Analyze yourself while doing it. When you have a conversation, you're going to be in that moment with the conversation. You're not going to grab out your cheat sheet to find out what your next routine's like or anything like this. No, you're going to enjoy the conversation and you're going to analyze yourself afterwards. Not during, afterwards. You will remember this, don't worry. If you don't get absolutely plasteredly drunk, you will remember the next morning what's been going on in your conversations. There's no need to think, talk, or do whatever game, do game, I don't know. But there's definitely no place for thinking or talking game. Questions at the end, if you don't mind. Is that good? Sure. Okay, cool. So basically, learn focused, take in a limited amount of material that you see fit. Don't just download everything. Take in the stuff that you see fit and practice with it. And while you practice, forget about it. And after practicing, come back to that material and see what you've done. See what you've done well. Pride yourself on that. See what you've not done so well and fix that.
Yeah. Okay, so really I think the biggest lesson that ties everything I've said together, and it's the same lesson that I really want you guys to take home, actually, when it comes to the beginning, right? Because in the beginning, I guess it's kind of hard to already be thinking about perhaps your sexuality, about projecting it and this and that. If you're still scared talking to women, if you still have this, if you're still kind of scared to do this whole approach thing, So I think the real nugget is this, right? Okay, the community teaches you. I think in general, it doesn't matter whether it's natural game or whatever routine game, right? It all goes pretty much like this, right? First, you attract the girl, then you connect with the girl, and then you actually have sex with the girl, right? I mean, logically in your mind is also how it goes, right? I mean, it seems quite logical. First, you attract the girl. There's this nice attraction. If she's attracted, she's willing to connect with you. And if she's willing to do all this shit, then maybe she's willing to have sex. But if you actually go down this road, right, of thinking like this, then you will continuously, right, go through this weird cycle where you will only, where you never feel like you've actually attracted enough, Why is this? It pretty much goes like this, right? If the community actually, says, okay, do this and that's what you say this, let's say, whatever the women, what is it? The women lie, who lies more men or women opener, right? And, then you do this routine and then this, right? You're like, cool, got it, boom, you got your shit, you're fucking scared, you're out there and you're looking at this chick like, fuck, I remember my first approach. I actually, it's pretty much, I was like, fucking, I'm bored. I'm just going to go read all this seduction stuff. I was like, awesome. I actually got, okay, now it was fucking scary all of a sudden because I read all this crazy shit. I'm like, okay, fuck, must be pretty scary talking to women, right? Got all this AA built up. And, I'm standing there and there's like a girl right behind me. I'm like, all right, fuck, I'm going to go, and approach her, right? I'm scared, and I'm like, all right, boom. And, it was such a rush, right? And it actually worked. It was amazing. She actually didn't slap me and she didn't run away. We actually had quite a cool talk and she was very entertained. She played with her hair, just like we've all read, right? And, but after a while, after about 10 minutes of this stuff, I was blah, blah, I was, yeah, I was just hammering this shit out, right? Attraction. We weren't connecting yet, but yeah, I was like, fuck it, first attraction, 20 minutes or whatever it was. And then, after a while, this girl's hair playing starts to go down a bit, and I'm like, all right, cool. All right, no worries. I know what I did. My attraction worked. It was perfect. I just need more attraction, right? That way, she'll just play with her hair longer, and then we'll get to the connection, I guess, right? So, if this is actually the road you're going down towards, right? You're gonna keep, fuck it, I'll go back, more information, more attraction, more, more shit. And, you actually, okay, although maybe in the beginning, like, all right, maybe sex is so far out of my reach, I don't even know. But the real lesson to take home from this is that you should not see this stuff, as like a linear process, right? I mean, I don't know, has anybody ever read this already? Like this shouldn't be a linear process? Nobody, all right, shit, I'm surprised because, you guys should all know that shit. All right, so, hold up, one sec, guys. All right, what does this come down to, right? If you shouldn't idealize attraction, what should you idealize? You should idealize leading. If you idealize leading, then, you're gonna do all the right moves and you're just gonna fill in the gaps as they go along, right? What this means is this, after you open a woman, after you just start a conversation, right? It could be like 5 seconds in, 2 seconds in, like, hey, cool, let's go, let's grab a drink, She might say no, like, all right, cool. Then you, whatever, throw your attraction shit, I don't care, right? After like, whatever, 10 seconds of that stuff, right? Let's say you're projecting your state, whatever natural game stuff you've read, it's all great. Right, let's say you do that, cool. She's attracted, boom, again, you lead, Now let's go to the bar, right? If you, in the beginning, stop focusing on attraction and comfort and all this shit, really, idealize leading. Because that shit's gonna get you results so much faster. It's gonna get you that number close, whatever, the first night you start approaching, really, It's gonna get you the kiss close, the second night, maybe. Because you're just gonna go for it. Idealize leading, don't idealize attraction, don't idealize comfort, or connection, whatever it is, Cool, I think that's pretty
And you'll
cool.
see this in every man who's good with women. He is going to lead. And this process applies to so much more, like Steve even talked about, it even applies to selling. Leading is an important skill. It might be scary, but it's worth learning it, seriously. So in the beginning, make sure to start with focused information that you see applies to you, where you see the fit with yourself. For that, you need to know who you are and where you really want to go. That's actually the most important thing to determine in the beginning. Make sure to only work with that information where you see fit. Make sure to enjoy yourself. Enjoy every single conversation because it's valuable. And make sure to learn how to lead. That's going to be your most important skill to learn in the beginning. So that's the beginning. What's the middle looking like?
All right, the middle, right? The middle is when you've read your shit and you've probably, moved on a little bit. And you're all right, cool. Maybe it could be, like 3 to 6 months in or something. Could actually be 6 months to 3 years, 4 years in. You can actually never get out of the middle, right? What do I mean by the middle? I mean that you actually, you still, yeah, I put it this way, like you still have this feeling as if women have this slight aversion to cock, you know? Like you have this weird feeling where, you know, women, they kind of like, you've had the experiences with your attraction stuff, you know, with your good reactions that, you know, women kind of like you, but you still have this feeling you're fighting, you know, you're fighting fire. You're really, you know, fighting an uphill battle, and there are just gaps, you know? Could be frustration as well. All right, what do you think?
Yeah, you're like the kind of guy that sometimes goes into a bar and leaves 5 minutes afterwards with the girl he wants. And the next night you're going like, yeah, wow, I did this all yesterday. It was fantastic. And then you're going to do 10 approaches and you're going to get blown out 10 times. So the middle is really, in the middle you have some skills and you have some good experiences, but there's almost no consistency in it. And why? Like what he just said, you think women have a slight aversion to cock. But you also have value issues. You also have value issues. That's why you start busting girls' balls, as they call it, or negging, as they used to call it, or I don't know how they call it nowadays. But that's why you do all of this, because you fundamentally see yourself at lower value. You see yourself here, and you see the woman there. Well, that's a bunch of shit. Seriously. I mean, this is where frustration is built out of. Why can't you not see people at the same level and approach each other at that same level? There's absolutely no need to bring somebody's value down in order to match yours. Why not work on your own perception of your own value? Why not think about what really, you know, makes you valuable? The whole value thing is a whole matrix thing, right? Because you go into a club, like here in London, there's a bunch of velvet rope type of clubs, like Jimmy Woo's in Amsterdam. We luckily only have that one in Amsterdam. But like, you know, where you have that semicircle in front, and the bouncer's going to be like, hottie, yeah, come in, hottie, come in, leave your boyfriend outside, hottie, come in, right? That's what gives you this value perception. Because you feel that women in short dresses with an open back always get ahead of you. Well, that's the club matrix. That's not real life. They dive into this matrix as a sort of holiday every weekend to enjoy that attention. However, you can get them out of that matrix really quick, and you don't need to insult, neg, or do whatever to lower their value. Because if you don't have an issue with your value, if you're all right with your own value, then this is what's actually going to shine through, not the value itself. It's how comfortable you are with yourself. So do not have an issue with that. Rather work on yourself and be like always 80% comfortable and 20% working. Never be 100% comfortable because you'll get stuck. Never be 100% uncomfortable because you'll get depressed. Find the right balance there.
Right. And I think the following is something that's actually funny because I realized this, I guess sort of towards the end more. And I really realized I did this in the middle, so I had to bring this up, right? And that is that in the middle, right, when you're frustrated sometimes, and even sometimes when you do fucking amazing, you know, you are so focused on yourself. You're so focused on yourself and how good you feel, how bad you feel, your state or whatever, or your, you know, whatever it is, your routines, your lines, doesn't matter. You're so focused on yourself, but you're not focused on the women at all, you know? In the middle, you hardly pay attention to how turned on the woman actually is or actually isn't, you know, or how she might be, but then get turned off. And you don't even notice this stuff, so you just, you know, you're doing all the wrong shit all the time. You know, that's why it gets frustrating because you're not actually paying attention to the woman in front of you, you know? And yeah, this is like a really weird thing because I think as guys, you know, I think I heard this thing once where guys, when we're like in the what is it, the womb, right? We get this surge of testosterone that makes us just like these sort of rigid, you know, like these non-sensitive, yeah, you know, this sexual, whatever, testosterone-driven, competitive dudes, right? These animals that actually pay no attention to what other people are really feeling. And yeah, that's kind of funny, but it's actually such a fucking waste to not pay attention on this in the beginning. However, everybody does this wrong.
Yeah, and all the community literature is phrased around paying attention to yourself and only looking at superficial indicators of something on the other side. Again, I'm saying the other side because at this middle point, you still feel that women are on the other side of that river or on a different team or a glass wall in between, which in the end you realize isn't true. But you know, There's some really bad practical stuff that people do as well in the middle. It's like all of a sudden, they start ditching their friends because they need to hang out with their pickup buddies. They need to run some game because they need to go out 3 nights a week and do at least 10 approaches every night. I almost lost a few friends a few years ago because I was getting too far into this. And I'm glad that I have straight up honest friends who call me up and be like, yo, the fuck are you doing? Like maybe it's the culture, maybe it's because, I don't know, German, Dutch people, they're pretty blunt, honest, straightforward. So this was both a Dutch friend and a German friend calling me up almost in a week, being like, dude, the hell, you're getting just out of that one hole where you didn't have women in your life. You just get out of that one hole to just straight dig another one to have only pickup artists in your life. Wow, fantastic. To my knowledge, pickup artists are not women. So you're not really progressing towards the goal you had originally set for yourself. So do not only hang out with PUAs, keep your real friends.
Yeah, okay, and the following, right? And this is something you already mentioned in the beginning, or in the introduction of the middle, right? In the middle, you still feel as if there's this huge battle between you and women, right? Let's say the battle of the sexes. And it's kind of funny because I want to spend at least a minute or so going into this of how this got started, right? So I remember when I got to, actually I was about 13 years old and I moved from Amsterdam, or actually from Holland, but you guys don't know that, anything about it, right? So let's say from Amsterdam, I moved to San Francisco. And, I was 13, and, at the time in Holland, it's all very much, I think it's all pretty much protected, and you're very much protected until, I think, quite an old age, actually. But I got, flown over, dropped in, like, total, let's say, valley girl, valley, right? Like, oh my God, look at you. And all the guys were all, like, buffed and playing football, and all the girls were all cheerleading. At 13, or, everybody dressed all nice and stuff. And there I was, kind of chubby, with like a bowl cut, like little zits on my face, and I didn't speak English, and I was like, what the fuck is this, I had no idea. Like in Holland, I was kind of cool, like I was, I got friends, and I was like, everybody liked me, but there I was like, what? Whoa, boom, superficial wall. And this place already had this battle of the sex stuff going on way before, right? And actually already started at an even younger age than they do in Holland. So, what is this, right? Okay. And I heard this actually through a seminar. Should we name it? Yeah, I guess.
You can always name a good guy.
Yeah, right. All right. This guy's a really good guy. I actually followed a seminar of him, I think about 6 months ago. And basically I was walking around with this feeling ever since I was that age, 13. And okay, I lost it along the way. But what was that feeling? What was that shitty feeling? That huge sort of distance between me and women. And this guy, he sketched it amazingly. He worded it, he phrased it perfectly. He said, at that age, right, when you're about 13, 14, puberty starts, the battle of the sexes starts, the distance between you and women, right, when you start feeling that women start to, get a little higher, start to get boobies, butts, like, oh my God, hottie, look at Betty, she's so hot, oh, what do I do? Boom, women get sort of like more important, right? What is this? What was this vibe that the women were projecting? It was the following. It was, I know you want me, and I despise you for it, right? I know you desire me, and I hate you. And it's kind of true, right? You're walking around, and, you see Betty with her, oh my God, she's got training bra, whatever, I don't know, like boobies, right? You're like, oh my God, and, and she's walking around, right? And she's just like, ugh, whatever, or just, has a straight face. You're just sort of staring her by. And what was this, right? And then it comes down to the fact that women are very, very good at social cues. Like we are not. Like I said, we're sort of these stumped off, like testosterone-driven, like half, like, mongoloids or whatever. And these Neanderthal dudes, right? And women are much more, they're way, way, way more susceptible to social cues, right? So what happens is, when they are around that age, right, and they start reading Cosmopolitan, talking to like all the hot or their older sisters or whatever, the older girls, they all see them acting this way. When they open Vogue magazine, on the cover it says, it has this sort of bitchy look of a woman, and it's that exact same bitchy look, right? It's sort of like, it's sort of that, I know you want me and I despise you for it, you're disgusting, right? And women start copying this, right? And, they actually get really, really fucking good at this. So, fast forward, whatever it is, like 10 years later, let's say you're around 23 or whatever, and you're going to the club, right? Women have had 10 years of practice of, doing this shit, right? And they're really good socially, so they're just walking around and they're all bitchy and shit, and you're like, oh my God, what's up with, it's almost normal for you by then, But there's this huge wall, and it's fake, right? And how to solve it, I'll get into this later. But I had to mention this.
Yeah, it's important. The solution will come. So now comes actually one of my favorite points in this presentation. I'm just going to connect to.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, one of the worst things you can really do while you're in the middle, in the beginning, in the end, or anywhere, is trying to press your reality onto other people. Hold on, what the fuck are we doing here, actually?
That's fine.
No, okay, we're not pressing reality, right?
Well, I guess they...
Should we go? No, I mean, what we really mean is not like you guys are listening here, because you want to listen. We're talking about the guy who will write his post on the forum about this new thing that has worked for him last night, and he'll write it down just when he gets home, because it was a small thing. He's not getting late that night. He has time at 3 o'clock in the morning to write a post on a forum. So he writes this down, and it's super important to him, because it's just given him one breakthrough, this one line he said. And then the next person will come on the next morning and be like, well, I've said this before and I bombed. No, this could not have happened. You must have used a different word or a different facial expression or whatever. This works guaranteed. You trust me. Take it from me. That's what one of our, one person we know always says. Just take it from me. It works. Whenever you hear, just take it from me. It works. You should ask more questions. Really, that's like the point. That's the ideal point to ask questions. So basically, pressing your reality onto other people on forums or with your pickup buddies who you've hopefully not only started to hang out with, but who you just meet every now and then. But again, what's the result? What can you imagine is the result of a guy who's pressing their reality onto another person, or trying at least? Well, he wants to become a damn pickup instructor, because right now he's in the middle and he has some success here and there. But he also bombs nights completely, where he goes home with no good conversation whatsoever, right? And he thinks, at that moment, he genuinely thinks, or could think, not everybody luckily does, is, God, if I only got to the level, if I only got to instructor level, if I only was instructor level good, I'd get all the women. So I want to become a pickup instructor. Seriously, at that point, you're confusing means and ends, because we can tell you, we've met a lot. Not all pickup instructors are good with women. That's number one. And B is basically, it's not really the glorious job that it seems. I mean, you might be staring in a video camera every now and then and talking about nice stuff, which you definitely enjoy. But this is an industry where the demand is much lower than the supply. Do you guys understand what that means? There's more people wanting to sell things than people wanting to buy things. Just to give you a simple example, just to condense it down in numbers, basically people want to sell for $100 million every year. However, the market only wants to buy for 20. So what are you going to get then? You're going to get these yard meter, whatever you want to call it, long sales pages that repeat themselves over and over again because people are desperate for your business. I've personally heard of people, from trusted sources, that grabbed somebody in the neck and said, no, you should really take this program now. I'm like, so what, does your rent depend on it? I mean, sorry, that's your rent, not mine. So this is one of the biggest mistakes you can do in the beginning. Set yourself the goal of becoming a pickup instructor. Because being a pickup instructor does not only mean having a low-paid job in an industry that's oversupplied and underdemanded, it also means that you probably can't live off this right away. So you need to keep your normal job, Monday to Friday. So your only free days are going to be Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And as a pickup instructor, those are the nights you're going to give away. Those are the nights you're going to be working on top of your regular job. And working as a pickup instructor means 8 out of 10 times spending time with guys who you would not spend your free time necessarily with. I'm not saying everybody who is a client is terrible. I mean, I enjoy working with 8 out of 10 clients, But if this was my free time, I probably wouldn't, I would rather hang out with my friends because I already have that little free time. So this basically means making a huge sacrifice. And it does not necessarily mean becoming good with women. Yeah. What else?
Well, I think, it seems like a really sort of cool goal, right? Like whatever, pickup instructor, whatever it is. The reason is this, right? They seem to get all the women or whatever. I'm sure some of them really do. Yeah. And, it's not a debate about that. The point is, though, right, is that pickup in general is really actually focusing, right, on what I described before, battling the sexes. It's sort of like, that thing I described, that sort of bitchy wall, it's described to sort of like hammer away at that, or actually sort of like, wizard away at that, rather than just ignoring it and just like whatever, wiping it out the way and going straight through into people, right? So I think honestly, it's actually, becoming a pickup instructor or whatever could actually, or getting really good at pickup per se, getting pickup minded, can get you really, really good at wizarding, social shit that girls might throw at you or whatever, or that the society might throw at you. But it can really, really limit you at actually getting down into people, literally, sexually as well, And the last point I really wanted to make then is that, pickup, right, teaches you how to play hard to get, right? It's like you're the ultimately hard to get guy. You're the guy that all the other girls want, right? It's like you're lucky to talk to me because I'm just jealousy plotlining you with this girl and these two girls here that look like my hot friends or that don't want me or my sisters or whatever. Social proof, right? Jealousy plotlines, all this good stuff that works, right? It's created, right, to get you all this attraction and get you really good at playing all this playing that little game, right? The battle of the sexes game. But it's not actually set up to make you win at the end, right? It's really actually, pickup is really, it's making it fucking difficult, actually. It's really making it fucking, actually, the only way to get through this is to get so much experience in it that you go, holy shit, they were right. It is balls, and then move on. Still use the experience you've gotten, because it is a valuable experience, I'm not denying that. But, after a while, you really do have to, move on. So how do we start progressing well in the middle, right? How do we end frustration and put it into smooth?
Yeah, like when you are at that inconsistent position of, knowing success, but also knowing failure, and sometimes having it even in one night, combining. There's a few things that you can do well. There's a few things that you can really do well. First of all, realizing simply that emotionally connecting to people, actually being more open beyond that surface level of, she's playing with her hair. But no, we are, two human beings connecting right now, not refusing that connection. That's actually one part of not seeing that wall anymore. And trust me, emotionally connecting with girls is rewarding. It's super rewarding. For me, it's one of the most rewarding things in life. And I don't mean, when I say emotionally connecting, necessarily having a monogamous relationship with that girl. So I sometimes had relationships with 3 girls because more I can't handle by time. But anytime one of the 3 girls was with me, I would emotionally fully embrace her and connect with her. Because if I don't do something, this is something my dad told me when I was really small. He's like, okay, in German he said it's either Sekt or Zelters, which basically means you do something 100% or you don't. So being with a woman longer than just a one-night stand, what would doing something 100% be, and what would doing something not 100% be? Clear? Refusing the connection is being half-ass. Embracing the connection, enjoying it, building on it, that's the 100%. And if that's not the connection you want, that's probably what you're asking yourself right now, then you don't need to take it. But why spend time with people where you don't have anything connectable with? You can be physically connected. You can have your fuck buddy and meet every 2 weeks for 2 hours and fuck and then just kick her out the door again or leave her door. That's fine. That's a form of physical connection. But if you spend more than that time with a woman, do not refuse the emotional connection. Rather enjoy it. And again, like about coming back to our points of wanting to become a pickup instructor or only spending time with your pickup buddies, you have to fit this into your life and not the other way around. Like your life should not become pickup all of a sudden. You should make room in your life for learning flirt skills or for learning pickup. It shouldn't become that shit. I'm living pickup. Now I have to make some room for my life because last week I received my last warning at work and my friends won't talk to me anymore, and all of a sudden I don't get invited to the birthday parties I used to get invited anymore. So make sure to keep your life, and if you weren't happy with the life you had, well, fucking change it. But don't let pickup become your new life. That's not the way. Pickup is not a life. Like pickup is part of a life. Can be, doesn't have to be. But it's never only the life. Like imagine like you have like a house built on several poles, and right, that's your life. Like you have your hobbies and you have your work, your friends. Imagine if you only live pickup, you only have one pole left. If that breaks down, boof, there goes your identity. There goes everything you have. So fit that into your life and not the other way around.
Yeah, cool. All right, so the middle, right? How to start progressing well. Well, how I started sort of progressing well, how I started getting rid of the frustration, that sometimes comes with wanting perfection, right? Wanting the ultimate, whatever stripper, threesome shit,
10 out of 10.
Right, all your goals, right? And how to start, actually getting what you want, right? What did it for me is when I no longer actually wanted to waste my time battling the battle of the sexes, right? So when I decided I no longer wanted to, waste time and effort trying to, beat some bullshit game. It's when I decided, you know what, actually, there's more out there. And through some sources, right, I really learned that projecting your sexuality, right, was something that you could actually improve. And you could actually really, really, it's something that's already within you, but it's something you actually got to stop blocking yourself from, right? And after a while, I decided, you know what, I gave myself permission to project this, right? And I found out very, very quickly, I think pretty much like a couple hours later, when I consciously started looking at this stuff, that women really, really love it when you project your sexuality onto them freely. Not like creepily, like trying to but that's not sexual, But it's about, it's not about battling fire with fire. It's actually about just taking this huge bucket of water and just, slapping it all over her face. She's a little drip, and you're like, oh, baby, come here, right? And then going, boom, get sexual. Okay, so.
Can I just ask you a question? Because you're like the one dude that I know that projects most sexuality. Like this guy we go out a lot, like he rarely ever talks to girls, but they still like him somehow. Like where I will lose 50 words, he'll lose 5. So can you maybe give these guys one tip, like one thing really, I know I'm catching you, we didn't talk about this, but one thing really practical of when they're looking at a girl, how they can learn to project their sexuality? Like something they can think of or something they can do?
Right, okay. There's a couple of things that you can do that I sort of figured out like trial and error. I'm like, oh my God, I wrote this down when I realized this. 2 things, right? And they sort of build upon each other. First is, and I hinted at it before, is just looking at her and seeing how does she feel. You know how little dudes ever do this? Like no pickup artist barely ever does this, and no whatever drunk guy in a club or sober guy in a club or guy that's pretty good with women, does this, right? I think only the guys that are really, really fucking like insanely solid, right, have this real, this trust and this good vibe that they project. And they are constantly like pinging, like how does she feel, right? So that's the number 1 tip, right? How does she feel? And actually when you want it to go sexual, right, all you gotta do is just how horny is she, right? How sexually aroused is she actually? If there'd be one right here and I just look at her and she'd probably not be very sexually aroused. But by actually looking for this, she I don't know how they do it, right? But she knows I'm sort of looking at this, right? She knows I'm looking for her arousal. And she starts to see. Yeah, I guess, And she starts to go, you know what, whoa. She starts to let go and, sort of accept mine, right? And the thing is this, like I said, I'm not busy at all with me, right? I'm not focused on me trying to feel sexual per se, right? If I do, then great, But it's really about her and how sexual she is. And when you look at this, right, when you look for this, like magical doors start opening. And that really is, like, put that chick to practice tonight. Walk down the street from now on for the rest of your life. When you walk around in the streets shopping with your mom, I don't care, look at women, how do they feel, and actually really start looking for how aroused they are. You'd be surprised how many aroused women there are on the streets. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. You might also be aroused how good eye contact actually feels, because that's what you need to ping that, right?
Yeah, I guess. But it all becomes automatic. All those little things like eye contact, voice or whatever, all that stuff, it all comes together when you just start focusing on the chick and how horny she is. It's weird, but, it's true.
Good for the middle?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I guess so.
Awesome. So the end. The end. the end that everybody tries to find at some rainbow or pot of gold or whatever. And this is one of the huge issues we're going to get into. So again, what's the type of shit that can happen to you when you're actually progressing towards the end? So you know what? Pickup fucks you up with regards to relationships. We've just hinted at this before, at not being able to emotionally connecting. But this goes much, much deeper, actually. You equate emotionally connecting or getting into a relationship with being a chode, an AFC, or somebody who's not good with women because you can only be with one woman. Well, what the hell? If you find the woman you genuinely want to be with in one way or the other, the definition is still up to you. If you're both okay with it, you can sleep with other people. If you're not, then you're not, Fine. But you got to be, if you're both on one line fully and you refuse to connect in a relationship, seriously, you're missing out on something. Just because you think, oh my God, I'm such a great pickup artist. I don't want to be a chode and be in a relationship. This is like one of the most destructive thoughts you can have, because remember the beginning when you couldn't talk to girls? Like, I take a bet, more than 50% of my old clients always said, yeah, I just want to have a nice girlfriend. And then you meet some of them again a year later, they got into the community and everything. They're like, no man, don't want to have a girlfriend anymore. Just want to go for a bunch of SNLs and stripper threesomes and maybe foursomes. Hopefully they'll be twin sisters or whatever. So, it's like you're scared to actually leave the pickup community due to the abundance that you've experienced. That you are experiencing, because right now at the end you're at the point where you have consistent results. It's not like it works 10 out of 10 times. Like, if you ever had that dream, take it away. Doesn't. Never going to be 100%. Nothing ever gives you 100%. However, it gets closer and closer and closer. And you realize, like, shit, I can go into any bar and probably 2 out of 3 nights I can go home with a girl who I think is really beautiful and who I'm going to have awesome sex with. That's kind of abundance, right? But realize that this abundance also keeps you from actually getting into the relationships we just talked about, from the real reward you were reaping. It can. It depends on how you define your relationships, really. Like I said, you're free. You don't need to actually take over what Cosmopolitan or Men's Health or whatever these magazines are called tell you a relationship is. One-on-one, monogamous emotionally, monogamous sexually. You can make your own decisions on every single level. But the deep enjoyment of a monogamous emotional connection is something that's really, really worth experiencing. Like, I don't have one right now, and I'm going to be honest with you, I would be nice, but I'm mature enough to say I'm only going to get into this with a girl that I really want to be in this. Because otherwise it would be a load of crap too. So in the end, you're scared to leave the pickup community because you're still striving for that unrealistic picture that the pickup community painted for you. 10 out of 10 chicks, stripper threesomes, sisters making out with each other on your lap and then sucking your dick in concert simultaneously. I don't know. It's seriously, like, if you think about it, like, women are people too. They're not just the object of your sexual dreams, really. And you need to meet them on that people level. And yeah, there are some strippers, Yeah, and there are some women who are into threesomes. It exists. However, don't make unrealistic dreams hold you back from actually getting what you initially wanted, if it's there.
Right, that's a good point. Good point. I think another end issue, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, the issue of actually, to me, when you brought this up, right? The how the whole relationship issue, so true. And there's also something funny that I sort of realized, which is that the community actually, definitely fucks you up when it comes to relationships, right? But the real reason of this is, and I think, when you go back, right, to the beginning, I think most guys, if not all guys, have their little loser story, right, of how they sucked and how, whatever, when they were 15, whatever, the girl they were dating fucked them over and fucked like 6 of their friends and they all laughed at them and haha, Whatever the story is, right, they, some are less extreme, some are more extreme. But the thing is, right, in the end, you sort of just kicked yourself in the nuts for feeling needy and for actually following action on that neediness and just fucking up, and you fucked up, right? So you sort of realize, what, I'm never gonna fuck up again. I'm gonna get good at this shit. I'm not gonna do dumb shit that I know is dumb and still do it, right? So I think that's also one of the things that could get you into the community. And then, so when you go through this shit and you've learned how to, no longer be a dumbass, how no longer, follow this neediness, completely blocking all sense of neediness or whatever emotion out, right? By the end, you're just, you could be, and you maybe even should be near the end, this sort of sexually charged, but quite non-emotional, emotionally connecting guy, right? So, yeah, you get the results, you get the pickup results, you get the sex, but the sex is not that rewarding, and the women probably won't stick around that long, and the women that do are not the women you want, because as well, these are fucked up women sometimes. So sorry for saying fucked up women, but there are fucked up women out there. But it's also really, and this is really fucking funny when I realized this, and I was like, fuck, man. You actually have equated your neediness, that needy feeling, so much with an emotional connection that when you see a woman emotionally connecting to you, you're just like, oh, she's just being needy. Oh man, I guess she wasn't really the chick I thought she was. I thought she had, she was high self-esteem, but now she's needy for me. I'm just a guy, fuck it, boom, you cut it off. Next, right? That perfect woman ideal you sort of, project. You don't even recognize her willingness to emotionally invest in you. You just say it's neediness, right? And the community has taught you this. And that is really one of the most fucked up things, right?
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
Yeah. I think that's really, yeah.
Just giving like in your life, certain things, for example, approach anxiety, adrenaline, are given a wrong meaning by social conditioning. But community conditioning can also give you the wrong meaning. So this is basically of how are you going to handle this well? How are you going to handle the end well? So you need to realize that even though we've been rambling a little bit, that the community can teach you, and also the pickup industry, can teach you some really valuable stuff. It taught us some really valuable stuff. However, as I've said in the beginning, there are only individual solutions. There are no general ones. So you need to figure yourself out while you're listening to all of this, while you're listening to us tonight, spend some time going out tomorrow before you listen to the next people, spend some time with yourself, have some me time. Realize that it can teach you a lot of great things. What really matters is your grain of salt. What really matters is how you take this and what you take. Don't take everything. Take the stuff that fits you and take it in the way that it fits you. Like if something, if you try something new and it doesn't work once, that's not an indicator that it doesn't fit you. But if if that happens 20 times, then it probably really doesn't fit you. And by spending a little bit more me time, trying to figure out yourself a little bit better, you will avoid going down a bunch of different paths that will end up in a hole, where you have to go through these 20 times to realize that it's not you. So what this really is, what women really like, is a guy who knows himself, who's confident, and who can lead her. Remember the first thing? Know yourself. So that means, community says social conditioning a lot. But like I said, the community also has community conditioning. It tries to condition you onto its level, recondition you. And the truth is actually somewhere in the middle. And you have the power to not go with the stream, but to only go into that part of the stream that you want to be in for the time you want to be in it. And this can be anything from 2 weeks till forever. That's all up to you. Everybody is different. Everything is individual.
So yeah, you can actually, connect to a woman on an emotional level in a healthy way. Like there is a possibility, right? So if you're trying to look for that way to sort of wiggle through, not be needy yet still actually end up connecting to people, would you want to do that, right? You have to realize a couple of things, and there's a pretty cool way to actually go about this and making it happen in a healthy way. So first of all is, right, realizing that you will never ever be needy, right, as long as you will not, project a woman to be higher than you. Like you won't be needy. To me, the difference between like a loser and a winner, or let's say a chump and a champ, or whatever you want to call it, right, an AFC or whatever POA, whatever, right, player. The difference is that the player, the winner, right, the champ does not let women walk all over him. That's the only difference, right? The difference is that he just has his shit in order, he has his purpose, and basically he doesn't let women pull him off his purpose. Women or a woman, or a woman, right? One single woman, multiple women. So this means also, right, that when you think about it, a real man does not let himself sort of get pulled out of his career, out of his study, whatever, due to pickup, right? So when it comes down to emotionally connecting healthily with a woman, right, not only is it about realizing that you will never be needy if you don't think she's higher than you. So by the time you've actually gotten to the end, right, by the time you've actually been sexual with women, right, there's a pretty high chance you won't see she's like the ultimate, oh my God, she's the only woman I'll ever love, and she's my only chance at, ever finding that connection, right? Like you did when you many, many years before that. So by this time, you've been sexual, and you can actually let your feelings go a bit, you know what I'm saying? Like you can actually let your feelings be what they are naturally are, and just follow that as long as you don't get pulled out of your shit, don't see her as the ultimate, goal in life, which is very easy if you think women are the primary goal in life, which is very easy if you think pickup is the number one goal in life. So as long as you actually think pickup is fucking amazingly important, you will actually, believe it or not, even though you logically say, this chick will not fulfill me, you still hooking up with that chick, you'll still be needy, right? Because it's the primary thing in your life. You're fucking yourself up. Well, actually, in reality, if you just wouldn't have known the community and just knew about not being too needy, right, you would have just done a lot better. So, number 2, right, what's the real way to, what's the actual practical way, right, to go from, the middle, right, the consistent sexual but empty sexual interactions towards more meaningful and diverse interactions? Well, it's very simple. All you got to do is have sex with enough women in an empty way, you know what I'm saying? Or, sure, just keep blocking that sexual, keep blocking that emotional part of you. Keep doing it, After a while, you're gonna go, fuck, man, like this is really it. Is this really the stripper threesomes I wanted? After a while, the stripper threesomes are just a stripper thing. You're like, fuck, is this really what I busted my balls for, right? And at that point, hopefully, you're gonna make a pretty good decision. You're gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna actually, maybe not say I'm gonna marry the next chick I meet or whatever, but you're gonna start letting your feelings go wherever they may, and you start connecting to women, right, in field and during the sex as well. And what's it gonna look like, right? What's it gonna look like, really simply, before you make your point, is that in field practically, all it's gonna look like is you walk up, how's she doing, right? You walk up actually concerned with her. What wait, how horny is she? Because I do like the sexual side too. Don't want to grow needy, right? Whatever. Just look at her, cool. You have this connection, right? An emotional connection. And at this point, right, you start leading her through the club. Boom, 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 you know? Start doing all the right things, and automatically, as long as you keep your sexuality sort of as your leading compass, right, you will end up in the bedroom. And if it's a woman you really like and connect with, right, you start connecting with more and more women. And the ones you like best are the ones you keep in your life. And the ones you don't, you don't. You know? Very simple. You'll never be needy. It'll be a choice. No?
Exactly. And basically, what we're hinting at is clear, right? At some point, you either need to find a new purpose within the pickup community for yourself. So if you truly have passion to coach other people, to help other people, you know, try. Have fun. It's a great job. We've enjoyed it. You know, however, for us, it is definitely time to move on right now. The thing is basically that you've spent so much time and energy on developing yourself those last few years. You can't just go cold turkey. You can't just not spend that energy anymore. However, think a little bit creatively. You can spend that energy on a lot of other destinations. For example, your finances, your health. A lot of shit might be fucked up right now because, after all, you spend every Friday and Saturday night until the early morning hours in clubs. You've basically slept through half of the next day, and maybe you haven't been all that good and focused at work because secretly you've been browsing pickup forums. So basically, you don't need to quit spending that energy and go cold turkey. However, when you feel that you are where you wanted to be in the beginning and where you still want to be right now, it's definitely time to redirect some of that energy. Because you are not needy anymore. You are able to connect with women. You are able to enjoy women. This is the one thing, like we've hinted at, the community is designed to not make you want to get out. It paints the next unrealistic picture. After the threesome comes the foursome, comes the fivesome. Right? So basically, realize for yourself what did you really want, and what do you want now. And if you've got it, you know, why do you need to pump countless amounts of more energy into that hole? You can still, you know, put a little bit in there. However, your energy at this point is probably much better spent at other places. So, like, remember, what are you doing? What are you doing? What did you do it for?
Well, I think, honestly, like, in the end, right, what do you do it for? What did I do it for? I started this shit because I was just bored shitless. It's not just bored, like, I was bored and feeling like shit. Like, really black, right? And honestly, man, like, just a way to get out the house, I guess. But whatever the reason is, I don't care what your story is, whether you've been like super amazing, you just want the ultimate best with women, whether you absolutely suck and you still want the ultimate best, right? Or whatever you want. The point is, really, you know, pick up, talking to women, especially if you haven't done this a lot, it makes you feel alive. You know, it really makes you feel alive. Like I said, at first approach, I was like, this is awesome. I don't remember shit of it. I just remember the feeling. It was like a rush. It was amazing, right? So, I mean, I think David Dida put it best. It's like when you take race car driving, right? That race car driving, whatever, motorcycle racing. If you would take all the danger out of that, and you take all the possibility of crashing and dying out of that, nobody would ever do it. Nobody ever watch it, nobody ever drive it, right? Same with this. If you couldn't get the blowout or couldn't go wrong, you would never do it. So love that shit, you know? And when it's time to move on, follow that, you know? That feeling, that rush, this is just one of the, you know, hundreds, thousands of ways to get this, you know? And as long as you follow that.
I really thought like I was on different sides with women in the beginning, right? Or rather towards the middle of my second entry. But then during that progressing, I realized that I actually really love women. Like, I think they're fantastic human beings. They are actually human beings. They're not on the other side. They're not the warriors to be, you know, fought against. They're fantastic. I mean, I really enjoy spending time with women. I enjoy being with women. And yeah, I still have guy friends, don't worry. Not that unhealthy, but I enjoy being with women. I love it. I deeply, deeply love women. And for that, I don't need any more pickup knowledge. And I enjoy coaching people, but I don't really have the time for it anymore. So for us, this was our last speech on pickup at any pickup convention. You know, we love this convention, so maybe we'll learn something new and we'll speak here again. Maybe we've learned something amazingly new and you'll see us again, or one of us in 2 years talking about something completely different. But pickup, that's it. So screw you guys, we're going home.